Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. In the northern part of the Flame Wind ancient country, within Inju city in the Baijio Chaos state. Inju city, as a third-rank large city of the Flame Wind ancient country, was comparable in size to Huyang city. The garrisoning forces here far surpassed those of the peripheral national city garrisons. A single city's military strength was enough to sweep through Zhejiang Primal Chaos State and Luoyin Primal Chaos State. According to Luo Fong, his servant Luo Sa should arrive in Inju city today, said Primordial Ancestor, sitting alone at a high floor of an ordinary tavern, drinking and watching the outside world. As the Deputy General of the City Defense Army, Primordial Ancestor had specifically taken leave. The City Defense Army had two groups of soldiers who could alternate shifts. After all, when cultivating in seclusion, one might require a lot of time, hence another Deputy General took over while Primordial Ancestor was on leave. Divine Monarch, the tavern attendant said respectfully, bringing some delicacies with a very humble gesture. A true god, and also a Deputy General of the City Defense Army, was indeed in existence not to be provoked by an ordinary tavern. Primordial Ancestor drank his wine and ate his food, waiting patiently. Boom. Suddenly, a terrifying aura spread from afar. Primordial Ancestor looked up and saw a young man riding a serpentine exotic beast flying within Inju city. Following behind him were some trusted aides riding a flying boat. It's the garrison commander's second son, General Yu. Primordial Ancestor recognized instantly. This young man was the most unruly figure in all of Inju city. The garrison of Inju city was a guest official of the Primal Chaos realm, responsible for guarding the frontier cities. He had two sons, the elder one was a disciple of a godly king, while the younger was kept by his side. This is a Primal Chaos realm exotic beast, controlled by a secret technique. It is said that the garrison commander paid a substantial price to obtain it from a godly king to serve as his son's mount and protector. Primordial Ancestor reflected inwardly. A Primal Chaos realm exotic beast used just as a mount, who in the city, among the eternal true gods, would not envy that? And who would dare provoke the young General Yu? After all, the protective treasures he possessed, especially his mount, were fearsome. Uncle Han, I heard my father has left his secluded meditation. The young General Yu, brimming with excitement, had hurried back from outside the city. Master just left his meditation. Young master didn't need to rush over so quickly, the serpentine beast telepathically replied. It had been completely enslaved, its original ferocity long gone, which gave the garrison commander the confidence to let it protect his son. I want my father to see my trophy, Uncle Han. Hurry, hurry, urged the young General Yu. The great serpent slightly sped up, darting twice, allowing the trailing trusted aides to clearly see it arriving at the garrison mansion. We seek a lineage and cannot obtain one, yet General Yu can use a Primal Chaos realm exotic beast as a mount. Just gradually accumulate merit points. With enough, you can still exchange them for a mount, was the discussion among many eternal true gods within the city, filled only with envy. This was merely the son of a Primal Chaos realm guest official. The sons and core members of the imperial clan of the Flame Wind ancient country had resources exceeding these by untold amounts. See a thnovlaya.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Luo Fong mentioned that he is now a guest official of the Flame Wind ancient country. Primordial Ancestor watched as General Yu rode his mount out of sight. The resources he can obtain must be comparable to those of Inju city's garrison commander. At that moment, the straightforward-appearing Mosa, with some trusted aides, subdued their auras and arrived at the base of the tavern. This tavern was the place agreed upon by Primordial Ancestor and Luo Fong. Primordial Ancestor. Mosa was a being of the Primal Chaos realm, and immediately identified Primordial Ancestor inside the tavern. You all wait here, commanded Mosa before silently entering the tavern. The trusted aides dispatched by Marquis Chuyu could only wait there. They still did not know the true purpose of this trip. They only knew to obey the commands of Luo his servant. Inside the tavern, Primordial Ancestor suddenly turned his head as a straightforward figure pushed the door and entered. Luo Sa. Primordial Ancestor, having previously been given a detailed description of Mosa's appearance by Luo Fong, recognized him at a glance. Deputy Commander. Mosa gave a slight smile. I come by the command of Master Luo He. Primordial Ancestor nodded with a slight smile. We will leave Inju City now, said Mosa. Not coordinating with the city defense army, asked Primordial Ancestor. The fewer the disturbances, the better. As for the handover, everything will be properly arranged, Mosa explained. Mosa considered this operation to be very cautious. The trusted aides he led did not even know their final destination. However, the struggles among the 7 first-rank marquises of Emperor Chu's lineage were brutally fierce. Thus, no amount of caution was excessive. As long as they could safely return to Luo Feng's cave mansion, then everything would be in order. Mosa said, we need the deputy commander to temporarily reside within a spatial secret treasure. Ha, Luo He had already mentioned this. Primordial Ancestor stood up. Mosa nodded, then waved his hand and encapsulated Primordial Ancestor into the spatial secret treasure he carried, quietly exiting the tavern to meet up with the trusted aides. Let's go. Although the trusted aides were still very confused, they obediently left quietly. If they encountered resistance, the trusted aides would present the first-rank Marquis command to handle it. If there were no obstacles, they would just leave quietly. Unnoticed, the Primordial Ancestor had quietly left Inju City. Deputy Commander Yuan's identity command token, how did it disappear? At the City Defense Army, it was possible to pinpoint the location of all members at any time, but now the whereabouts of Primordial Ancestor's token could not be tracked. Since it was only a deputy commander, the City Defense Army immediately reported the news. This message, in a short time, couldn't reach the garrison commander. The garrison commander of Inju City was spending time with his second son. The garrison commander suddenly received a piece of information. A first-rank Marquis of the Imperial clan Marquis Chu requested a transfer order, moving the deputy commander Yuan. The garrison commander frowned slightly. A first-rank Marquis making a transfer request for just a minor deputy commander. This kind of order, once passed by the Imperial clan, was already confirmed. He, as the garrison commander, had no right to object. In the Flame-Wind ancient country, the Imperial clan managed all aspects of the nation. Even the distribution of some tasks was done by the core of the Imperial clan. Even the most distinguished guest officials only had the right to choose tasks and refuse missions. They had no right to interfere in the management of the Flame-Wind ancient country. With Yuan transferred away, the garrison commander had no right to object, only the right to be informed. Check where the City Defense Army's deputy commander Yuan is. The garrison commander started to give orders. His identity command token cannot be locked. He probably has left Inju City already. The garrison commander frowned slightly. This Yuan, his identity must be extraordinary. Marquis Chu must be worried about my interference spoiling his plans. Even with his official power, the garrison commander had no right to stop it. But as a powerful guest official of the primal chaos realm, he naturally had the ability to obstruct without anyone knowing. Asterisk. By the time the other first-rank marquises of Emperor Chu's lineage noticed this transfer order, Yuan had already left Inju City. 5 days later, in Chu capital, Mosa had quietly returned to Luo Feng's cave mansion. Master. Mosa, along with Primordial Ancestor, came to report back on the mission. Luo Feng had naturally come out early to welcome him, and spotted the grey-robed man walking with Mosa at a glance. Yuan. Luo Feng smiled as he spoke. The two of them had long discussed their respective names in the land of origin. The title Primordial Ancestor would immediately make outsiders realize the special significance of Primordial Ancestor to Luo Feng. Luo He. The Primordial Ancestor also looked at Luo Feng with a smile, calling him by this name. Master, everything went very smoothly, Mosa said. Luo Feng nodded. Very well, you've also worked hard, go rest now. Mosa understood that his master and primordial ancestor had matters to discuss, feeling that primordial ancestor and master seemed even closer, he could only obediently leave. Yuan, come with me. Luo Fong immediately took primordial ancestor into the quiet room, entering the star tower. Inside one of the layers of the star tower. Look. Luo Fong pointed ahead, where a vast amount of items were stored, including heritage scriptures, various rare treasures of heaven and earth, refined precious medicines, and weapons secret treasures. These are what I confiscated after defeating the Heart Shadow sect. They have limited help for those in the primal chaos realm, but there are many treasures that aid the cultivation of eternal true gods. The Heart Shadow sect, being set to train elite disciples, naturally had a systematic collection of various rare treasures and artifacts. So many. Primordial Ancestor also saw the scriptures leading to the primal chaos realm. Godly King scriptures were rare, but primal chaos realm scriptures were plentiful. Previously, in Inju city, I diligently sought ways to accumulate merit points to exchange for a good inheritance, Primordial Ancestor lamented, yet now before my eyes is a pile stored. Luo Fong laughed. Before, he wanted to help Primordial Ancestor, he had to first learn an inheritance himself, then through the memory stone, teach it to Primordial Ancestor back in his homeland in the Primordial Cosmos region. Now that the two of them had met in the land of origin, Primordial Ancestor could learn by himself. These resources, Primordial Ancestor, feel free to choose, Luo Fong said. Resources still need to be properly planned. Many of our human race descendants will have to come over later. Primordial Ancestor looked at the massive amount of resources. He had previously been just an ordinary eternal true god, a minor deputy commander in the city defense army. All his treasures combined were not worth 100,000 cosmic sand, yet here were treasures worth billions of cosmic sand. Luo Fong laughed. By the time other human race cultivators come over, these treasures will really not be worth mentioning. Not to mention anything else. Just digesting the first calamity of the 8 tribulations life form properly, perfecting his transformation method, he would be enough to advance further. Primordial Ancestor, you practice here slowly, just say the word if you want to go out, Luo Fong said. You go ahead. Primordial Ancestor was currently full of fighting spirit, especially since the inheritances and resources in front of him could allow him to thoroughly study and utilize them. Luo Fong nodded, then immediately disappeared, going to his own layer of space in the Star Tower. Luo Fong was in the middle of his cultivation, but had specifically come out to meet Primordial Ancestor. Now he continued to study the chapter of life spirituality in the first calamity of the 8 tribulations life form. Previously, Luo Fong had learned the simple application of life spirituality by studying primal chaos layer creature. However, this chapter of life spirituality contained all the mysteries of the life spirituality lineage, with many applications and secret techniques. Luo Fong wasn't in a hurry to perfect his transformation method, but was first gradually learning and accumulating. Luo Fong contemplated the first calamity of the 8 tribulations life form, becoming so engrossed that he lost track of time. Although he had great opportunities to directly face the complete great Tao of life origin, it was like the eternal true gods living beside the primal chaos ruins, able to observe the materialized primal chaos laws. But how many of them could really understand the primal chaos laws? Seeing it did not mean understanding it. Across the entire land of origin, there were numerous ancient beings who could face the complete origin great Tao directly. They had inheritances and resources to aid them, yet most couldn't grasp it in their lifetimes. Having an inheritance does make comprehension easier. All creatures possess life spirituality, and those with strong spirituality are filled with infinite possibilities. If one fully masters the lineage of life spirituality, one can even transform life. Even rocks, weeds, weapons, and rivers could be transformed, acquiring consciousness and becoming true life forms. For instance, a majestic large city requires mastery of the complete great Tao of life origin. Only by perfectly integrating the life structure of the majestic city with spirituality can the city be transformed. Vast rivers, towering mountains, formidable corpses, all can potentially be transformed into life forms. Those who grasp the complete great Tao of life origin can transform many formidable lives. Some might even possess the strength of a godly king tier right from the moment of transformation, Luo Fong read in The Inheritance, utterly awed. Every individual who mastered the complete origin Great Tao possessed unimaginable capabilities. Search *, the novelfire.net website, on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. As a sector beast like Mosa, who mastered the complete Great Tao of Destruction origin, the sector within him could also spawn a vast number of subordinates, even fostering godly king-level strength. Of course, the more powerful the subordinates, the harder they were to foster. For those who grasped the Great Tao of life origin, transforming someone into a godly king-level combatant was extremely difficult. One transformation, organizing the life structure, bestowing spirituality, directly achieving godly king power. Luo Fong reflected quietly, my cultivation up to now hasn't even reached the godly king tier. Those transformed or fostered by external forces, possessing godly king-level strength from birth, had a far lesser understanding compared to regular cultivators. Ordinarily, becoming a godly king involved selection from countless creatures along with the accumulation of realms over many long years. Those who instantly possessed godly king-level strength neither developed naturally nor had any accumulation, making their chances of advancing in comprehension almost nil. My transformation method model itself after creatures from the primal chaos layer, transforming directly, Luo Fong pondered, and according to the inheritance, the stronger the life spirituality of any creature, the more remarkable it becomes. The appearance of these primal chaos layer creatures does not represent the most perfect form. I could try enhancing their life spirituality. The first calamity of the 8 tribulations life form did not record the transformation method. This was a unique ability Luo Fong possessed after acquiring the perfect divine body, and it was also a power bestowed by the highest rule. With the ability of being formless and intangible, I can better attempt and study the relation between the body of life and life spirituality. The Great Tao of life origin consists of 6 major branches, each heavily related to the others. For instance, to enhance life spirituality, there's a cap for each life form. Modifying life structure is required to further enhance life spirituality. And life structure relates to the body of life lineage. Brother Luo suddenly Luo Fong received a message. During his seclusion, Luo Fong almost completely cut off all contact with the outside world. Only Marquis Chuyu and the Primordial Ancestor were able to contact him. Of course, Mosa could also reach him directly through telepathy. Brother Luo you should have checked the guest official tasks with your guest official order, right? Marquis Chuyu said. None of them are good tasks. Either garrison a frontier city for 10,000 eras, or deal with some conflicts with the Thunder Ancient Country, Luo Fong replied. He had just obtained the inheritance, a period for accumulation and improvement. Naturally he was unwilling to get involved. Even the minor conflicts with the Thunder Ancient Country were at the primal chaos realm level. But the Thunder Ancient Country also had some transcendence of primal chaos realm beings. Those who reached that level generally cultivated primordial force, or cultivated with primordial materials. Their methods were mysterious and unpredictable. Luo Fong had no interest in clashing with them. The best tasks have been taken by us, the 7 top-ranked marquises, and only those tasks that no one wants are left to check via the guest official order. Marquis Chu laughed. I just found a good task. If you have no objections, I'll assign it directly to you. You just need to accept it. What's the good task? Luo Fong asked. To serve as an inspector of Chu Capital, Marquis Chuyu said. Chu Capital has 3 inspectors, all held by guest officials of Primal Chaos Realm. Actually, Chu Capital itself has an army. Minor troubles are dealt with by the many armies. And for major troubles, a godly king will personally handle it. Things that require an action from a Primal Chaos Realm inspector are very rare, Marquis Chuyu said. Being in this position offers higher merit points than garrisoning the frontier, 1,000 merit points per era. This position cannot be held for more than 100 eras, it must be rotated. 100 eras, that's 100,000 merit points. Serving in Chu Capital for 100 eras, that's 100,000 merit points. This is a task that all guest officials of Primal Chaos Realm wish to compete for, Marquis Chuyu said. Luo Fong nodded. What are the requirements for serving as an inspector of Chu capital? Earning merit points was extremely hard. Garrisoning a frontier city for 10,000 eras also earned 100,000 merit points. Serving as an inspector of Chu capital for 100 eras also earned 100,000 merit points. The latter took much less time and was less risky, so the later task was more desirable. Those willing to take the former task did so only out of necessity. To serve as an inspector of Chu capital, you must reside in Chu capital. If you need to take leave or leave Chu capital, you cannot be away for more than 1,000 days per era, Marquis Chu said. If you have no objections, I'll issue the task to you now. Brother Chu, thanks. Luo Fong readily accepted the task. Having just entered the primal chaos realm not long ago, he was not inclined to seek trouble. When his cultivation hit a bottleneck and progression became difficult, needing merit points to exchange for inheritance resources, then it would not be too late to undertake more dangerous tasks. Soon, Luo Feng's guest official order received the issued task, designated to Brother Luo He. Luo Feng naturally chose to accept. Time passed, and Luo Feng had come to the Chu capital of the flame-wind ancient country, and before he knew it, more than half an era had passed. During this time, as the Chu capital inspector, Luo Feng had only received one order, personally capturing a group of brawling imperial clansmen. All these imperial clansmen were eternal true gods, strong in abilities, rich in treasures. When they truly went mad, it required the intervention of a guest official of the primal chaos realm. Within a tower atop the clouds in Chu capital, Luo Feng and Primordial Ancestor sat opposite each other. This brew is really something, said Primordial Ancestor, somewhat astonished. It feels like it nourishes both the godly body and the soul. Just one cup had made the Primordial Ancestor feel as though his godly body had been nourished and had grown stronger. This is 100 differentiations brew, Luo Feng explained with a smile. It is said to be concocted using the blood of over 100 primal chaos realm exotic beasts, along with some heavenly and earthly treasures. This pot alone is worth 100 cosmic sand. Primordial Ancestor listened in amazement. Ordinary eternal true gods, even if they spent all their fortune, wouldn't be able to drink it for long. Blood from over 100 primal chaos realm exotic beasts. Primordial Ancestor was shocked. It's not a big deal, Luo Feng explained. Chu capital has many primal chaos realm exotic beasts in captivity. And some common blood is trivial to these beasts. It naturally recovers as they absorb the power of heaven and earth. Therefore, the cost for merchants isn't considered high. This pot of brew costs 100 cosmic sand, but the actual cost might be just 1 or 2 cosmic sand. However, every pot of brew has a fixed amount of 60 cosmic sand, which needs to go to the first-rank Marquis Chu Ying. Primordial Ancestor nodded. He already knew that each first-rank Marquis in Emperor Chu's lineage had great authority. Luo Feng sided with the first-rank Marquis Chu Yu. Brother Chu Yu has been a first-rank Marquis for a short time, and his accumulations in all aspects are much less than other first-rank Marquises, Luo Feng said. Be it strength, realm, or resources and wealth, Marquis Chu Yu was far behind. But with 7 having equal status, Marquis Chu Yu's aspects would continuously improve. Brother Luo He. Suddenly, Luo Feng received a message. There's a good task, but it requires leaving the city. Oh? What task? Luo Feng asked. In one era, he could not leave Chu capital for more than 1,000 days. As long as the task was short, there was still time. I'll send you the details. I think with your strength, it could probably be resolved within a few days, Marquis Chu Yu transmitted. Completing this task rewards 10,000 merit points. I just discovered it and grabbed it for you. Take a look at this task. See if you want to take it. Soon, the detailed information of the task was sent over. Luo Feng put down his cup and carefully examined the task. Within the Qingchong Primal Chaos province of the Flame-Wind ancient country, there was a regular city, Sky Curve City, built specifically for the mining of heavenly bend stone essence. Recently, however, in the past few chaos eras, the output of heavenly bend stone essence had significantly decreased, and even the cultivators responsible for the mining had died in large numbers, with dozens of eternal true gods among the deceased. It was suspected that a primal chaos realm entity was involved in the illicit mining of heavenly bend stone essence. The task, to trace the identity of the pirate, rewarded 10,000 merit points. Capturing the pirate alive would provide an additional reward of 5,000 merit points. Trace the pirate's identity. Luo Fong understood. For the flame-wind ancient country, tracing the identity was most important. Once found, capturing would actually be relatively easy. Heavenly bend stone essence is an extremely important cultivation resource for the flame-wind ancient country, almost exclusively used by the god kings. Luo Fong knew the specialty of this heavenly and earthly treasure. The borders of the flame-wind ancient country and the thunder ancient country were at the center of the land of origin, where exotic beasts were much more numerous, as were cultivators and treasures. "I'll take this task," Luo Fong responded to Marquis Chu Yu. A short-duration task with over 10,000 merit points was indeed rare. "I'll send you all the information related to this task," Marquis Chu Yu transferred. "By the way, Brother Chu Yu, could you help me find some primal chaos realm strength creatures of the primal chaos layer?" Luo Fong transmitted. Primal chaos layer creatures that he had captured himself were not very strong. The strongest ones, born with primal chaos realm strength, had already been captured by some ancient existences. Primal chaos layer creatures. Marquis Chu Yu was somewhat vexed. "If you're talking about exotic beasts, they are everywhere in the world, and my flame-wind ancient country has captured many primal chaos realm exotic beasts. Buying a few is not difficult. But primal chaos layer creatures that also have primal chaos realm strength, as far as I know, they are extremely rare. There might not be more than 10 within the entire flame-wind ancient country, almost all in the hands of the god kings. I don't need the complete creature, just some body materials," Luo Fong said. "Only needing some body materials, that I might be able to try." Marquis Chu Yu felt the difficulty greatly reduced, but it will take some time. "I'm not even sure which god kings possess these creatures. This is very important to me." "Please, Brother Chu Yu," Luo Fong said. "This important to you?" Marquis Chu Yu was invigorated. His most important ally was in urgent need. "Don't worry, just for some body materials, I will definitely get you some." "Thanks," Luo Fong said without mentioning his payment of cosmic sand. As for a first-rank marquis, even 10 billion cosmic sand was not of great significance. What he owed was a favor. But for primal chaos layer creatures born with primal chaos realm strength, Luo Fong felt owing a favor was worth it. That same day, Luo Fong quietly left the Chu capital and headed to Qingchong Primal Chaos Province to investigate the matter of the pirate. This video will end here.